Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Yahliali in this incarnation. I am here today to talk about the energies of this next week from today, August 25th, until September 1st. And actually, we are in our way to the new moon in Virgo, which is going to happen on September 2nd. And it is the one that is beginning the eclipse season. But I'm going to talk about that event later, probably tomorrow. There are already transits that are active and participate of the configuration of the new moon. And all the lunations, full moons, new moons, we feel them a week after, a week before. And when we talk about eclipses, we could feel them with much more anticipation because they are lunations with, they are more strong, they are stronger, sorry. So in short, I'm going to talk about the season of eclipses. And for that, in order to do that, it is important to talk about the change of the karma nodes that is going to happen on January of 2025. But I'm going to talk about that now because the first eclipse that we are going to experiment, it is given in the energies of these nodes. It is like a preview that we are going to have. So, well, I'm going to expand on that later. Let's start with Mercury. Mercury is going to be direct on August 28. Finally, it is going to be awakening in the degree 21 of Leo, but first, it is going to be stationary as every time that Mercury starts the retrogradation or finish. So, from the next week, we are going to start to feel the energy of Mercury direct, and it is going to keep moving through the mathematical degrees that already passed through. So it is the period of shadow that we call in astrology, but now direct. And processes that were stagnant, conversations can now begin or conclude in some cases. But we're going to see that many processes are going to start to move. Well, then we are going to have a week with a lot of Neptunian energy because Neptune in Pisces is going to have important transits this week. On one hand, we have Venus in Virgo at this point that is creating already from today an opposition with Neptune. This is going to be perfected on August 28th because on August 29th, Venus is going to move to Libra, but it is going to still be in opposition for the rest of the week. And it is not only the opposition with Neptune, it is going to create a figure that we call in astrology cosmic kite. And Neptune, it is like the principal point. We have also Uranus participating. We have Pluto in Aquarius participating, Uranus in Taurus. And Venus is going to be like the receptive planet that brings all this energy to Earth. So it is a very powerful configuration. And this is about energy of change, Uranus, and transformation, Pluto, led by this connection with the soul that in the end makes part of a collective soul that unifies all of us. So I'm going to specify right now, because we are going to feel it a lot this week, what does it mean, oppositions between Neptune and Venus. And these are moments, Venus is the planet of relationships, the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with the things that we value, our resources, etc. So when we experiment oppositions with Neptune, idealizations about what we want, that the reality to be, idealizations, things that are not corresponding with how the reality it is presenting, could manifest. Escapisms, the illusions that were sustained from what the ego wants, from what the ego wants to project in relationships and in resources, are going to be reflected. And something that I always explain about oppositions, it is that we have the tendency as human beings to see what is happening on the inside in an external scene, in a person outside. So deceits could come to light. Deceits, if this happen in relationships, we have to remember that is reflecting our own deceits with ourselves. What I'm trying to say is that for example, the boundaries that we are not establishing, the acts of renouncement to ourselves in the name of love that actually correspond to conditionings of thinking that we have to give all and putting aside our own individuality to sustain a relationship for fear of being alone. All of these things are reinforcing the illusion of separation inside. And of course, this is going to be reflected on the outside. And the same happens for people that could sustain the deceit. Truly, those people are cheating themselves. So it is the internal incoherence what disconnects us from our own soul. Then something that I remind in this kind of transits, because Venus, it is also associated with resources, it is that they are many times synchronic with these scams, and they also have a purpose in the experience. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, not listening to the intuition, these opportunities that seem to be too good to be true, but there are not coherence or relation between the value of the thing and the product and the quality, these kind of things could represent a scam, could end in a scam. So it is very important to listen to our intuition, not only this week, but along the whole journey. This could be a transit of disillusionment, of disappointment. But obviously, this is an aspect, and the invitation, the true invitation of this transit is in reality that we could surrender to the soul, to this superior energy that operates in everything, that we can trust in the processes of life and in the decisions that are truly aligned with love, that of course include establishing healthy boundaries, putting order, and make a constructive criticism to ourselves of what is really not working anymore in all these topics that I mentioned linked with Venus. On the other side, this could be an energy of high creative connection, of sensitivity, empathy, and ideas that we could materialize and descend to this plane, because this is Virgo, the energy of Virgo, taking the steps, doing things with consistency. Discernment is going to be something very, very important during this transit and along the whole journey too. On the other side, we have Mars in Gemini. And all this week is going to create a square with the same planet, Neptune retrograde in Pisces. This is going to be perfected on September 4th, and it is another tension. So let's see how this could be reflected in its aspects of shadow, or where Neptune it is not integrated. So Mars is this planet through which we open our way. This could be linked with having to initiate something, assuming a decision, choosing a path, and avoiding that process. Overthinking at the point that the confusion is generated because the rational mind is not allowing ourselves to listen to our intuition, to listen to our own soul. The mind is not allowing ourselves to connect with ourselves. So escapisms, the circle of avoidance through spending a lot of time in social media or with people, to run from ourselves. Neptune could also represent substances, alcohol and these kind of things. This could be an aspect. There could be a difficulty to process the anger, because Mars also represents the aggressiveness. It is this energy through which we can open our way, but also it is the aggressiveness and the anger. So a difficulty to process it by repressing it or denying it, or projecting it in passive aggressive ways. This is an aspect of Mars and Neptune. It is also a transit in which low energy could be experimented, apathy or lack of sense. But if this happens in the case of low energy, it is because the actions are invested in situations, experiences, or people that are not aligned with the soul anymore. This is very important, because the principal invitation of Neptune, it is for us to connect with ourselves and with our soul in greater levels. Feeling lost could be other reflection of this transit, and And if this happens, it is an opportunity to discover yourself in a different way. And I think that is a phase necessary to go through for the people that are really questioning their lives and what they really came here to display and to do. The thing is that when the stagnancy is created in that state of being lost, I mean, there are no decisions, there are no changes. Well, we have to make a labor, we have to make a decision, we have to start to make changes and to experiment life in order to find ourselves again. So at the same, this is like the transit with Venus. It is an aspect of great inner listening. So Neptune has the function of dissolving layers of the ego, and this could imply the renouncement to a belief or an ideal that is not adjusting to the reality. It is about the renouncement to wanting to control everything, and trust. It is something that could be challenging, and trusting in the process of life, trusting in the internal guidance and in what we are feeling, but it is not seen, that it is not the same as what we want to see from the masks of the ego. So all of this requires a lot of presence. I'm going to expand along the week. On August 28, we have Venus moving to Libra. And at the moment it enters in Libra, it is going to create a trine with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And the passage of Venus in Libra is very, very important because here it is positioned the South Node. Karma nodes are the points where the eclipses are happening. So the second eclipse of this year is going to happen in Libra. And this is an axis of cleansing and purge. The trine with Pluto, it is this impulse to assume the power, the internal power to make changes, to give leaps of faith, which represents the energy of Aquarius, that are contributing with the rebalancing inside. Peace and harmony, which are aspects of the energy of Libra, in its high vibration, they are not depending on the external things. They are not depending on the others. It is a labor, it is a practice also of recognition of what we need to do in the present moment. And of course, the transit of Venus in Libra, it is an invitation to observe with much more attention our relationships, to observe the dynamics that we are establishing between the giving and receiving, the reciprocity, and our choices. So, well, I'm doing a summary today. Okay, on August 29th, we have Uranus retrograde. Uranus starts its retrogradation. So we are feeling this from the last week because Uranus participated from the last with the last full moon in Aquarius. And when slow planets start their retrogradation or finish it, we all feel them, independently of the aspects that we have of Uranus in our natal chart. So this is an invitation to review in the Taurus area of our natal chart, in the last degrees, if there are any resistances to change and the need to approach them. And obviously, life is going to bring the correspondent movements so those changes can be produced. Let's remember that Uranus is in an aspect with Venus the whole week too. With Venus, with Pluto, with Neptune. So it is a very, very powerful week. In the collective level, this could be reflected in economy, terrestrial changes, climatic changes, and movements of groups of people. And at last, but no least, this is very, very important, and I am not going to expand in this video because I want to do a special video for this. On September 1st, Pluto is going to make the last return to Capricorn of our lives. We won't see this again, at least the people that are incarnated at this moment. So, well, this is about the end of a labor that Pluto has been doing from 2008 and in Capricorn. It is the final purge of the distortions in the systems, authorities, this programming of having to be something imposed by the society that disconnects us from the soul. And obviously, we are going to see this in the collective level, but collective levels, collective processes are much more slower. Certainly, we are going to feel this in our personal lives. So, well, I am ending this video here. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.